Hi guys, this is your reading for the weekend of starting on Friday the 24th, Saturday the 25th and Sunday the 26th of March. I'm going to talk a little bit about where the moon is over the weekend, and then I want to talk a little bit about the Venus retrograde that's going on and how that's affecting our relationships. That's probably the biggest feature of the month that we're all working through. And then I've pulled some cards for the weekend. Okay, so Friday, we've got the moon and its dark phase. So it's waning. It's not very powerful, but it's very intuitive. And when the moon is in the dark phase, it makes us look and feel from within. So it's about connecting within ourselves. It can be quite magical for people who are a little bit more psychically aware and in tune with that type of energy. It's in Aquarius for Friday and Saturday. And Aquarius is really good for community things or finding like-minded people and general humanitarian type things. So it's really good if you're doing anything like a political rally or going to see a band, so you can sort of connect that fan base. So it's connecting with people outside of your usual group, but connecting with like-minded people. So anything like that I think would be really good, and you'd come away with a really good sense of being part of something bigger than ourselves. Then on Sunday the moon goes into Pisces, and because with the dark of the moon and the Pisces vibration, I think we will be looking at ourselves from a more within ourselves and probably quite psychically aware day, a good day for meditating or doing some yoga or something like that. I think that'd be really nice. Now we're coming up this week. Obviously we've had the equinox this week, so that's a really good balancing still. We're still in that time frame where we've got a good balance of male and female energies. So the equinox, we've kicked off spring, which is really always really nice time of year, and I think that's coming through strongly this weekend. And in the middle of next week we've got a new moon coming up in Aries. So we're just starting, this weekend is, if you like, the last weekend of that moon phase of where we're looking at also what's happened, and we're just starting to look a little bit more forward. So trust your intuition on Sunday, because that might take you help you start thinking about where you're going from there. Now this Venus retrograde that has been going on all month, it's in Aries. Now traditionally Venus is not particularly in its best place in Aries, because Aries isn't overly romantic. It doesn't dress things up for you, it just says it how it is, and that's not always the ideal thing for relationships. So I have to say I'm really liking how it's playing out for us. I think it's making us look very honestly at what we're feeling and what we're saying and the relationship that we're in. I think people are finding it quite easy to speak their truth, to feel strong in their relationships. And like last week I was saying, really listen to the messages that people are saying, because they are coming from the heart. Aries does wear their heart on their sleeve. And I think it's helping us all be a bit braver about what we say and stand a little bit more squarely in our own authentic self. And Aries does make us look towards ourselves. It rules the self. So we're seeing ourselves within a relationship instead of that relationship subsuming us. So I think we've really been told some hard truths, but some really good truths as well, which will help us evaluate where we are. And that's still continuing for next week. Lots and lots of things in Aries. Uranus is still in Aries, so that still pops up, will pop up some surprises in relationships. And Mercury is squared Pluto, which I think if anything comes up around when we're talking about how we feel, you could have some taboo subjects being brought up, things that aren't normally raised being talked about. So I think you might have some surprises in that. Certainly last weekend I've had some friends that have had some really quite small statements say an awful lot about how their partner feels. So I think that vibration is still going to carry on for a little while. The retrograde itself, it will be in Aries until the 3rd of April, so it's still, we've still got a while for that to go through. But I'm really liking the way it's making me look at things, and I think it's just made it a bit easier for everyone to be more honest about how they feel. Okay, so the cards that I've drawn for this weekend, the Nine of Swords, and this is about what we allow ourselves to worry about, what keeps us up at night, and those stressors that we can't shift. They're like stuck in our subconscious. And maybe not think about them during the day, but they do pop up when we're resting. So it's a good time to confront those. You've got the Page of Wands, which is about honest communication. So I think those two cards together is supporting this idea that it's perhaps the time where we are able to bring up subjects that affect us quite deeply inside, but we normally find it very difficult to talk about. Four of Swords, that's telling us not to take too much action, but just sort of accept what we're being told and live with that for a little while before we do any big actions. We've got the King of Pentacles, really good, strong male card. I think the male energies are, they're just, a lot of the men I know, they've really, through this retrograde, they've really starting to accept how they do feel and come to terms with things that are within their own control, and taking a bit more responsibility for their own lives and not pushing out that blame outwards. And I think that strength is now really starting to sit quite well within them. We've got the Fool. Oh, and I think this has got to be Mercury in Aries, just helping us to say what needs to be said and accepting truth as it is. And then we've got Temperance, and I think this is talking to us about the moon being in Pisces and the dark of the moon, and just having that internal dialogue and that psychic awareness that helps us through things. So that's where we are this week. Next week it's a similar thing. We're still in this Aries retrograde, but then after that it will move into Pisces, which we'll find much more emotional. So we might be dealing with some of the emotional fallout that might be coming our way. So I hope that helps. I hope you have a good time. Certainly if you go to any big events, I think you'll really come away feeling like you're part of something bigger than yourself in your life. And certainly these ongoing relationship discussions with people are just bringing up so much stuff for people. It's not always easy to hear, but I really do think it's a great opportunity for us to all review and look at where we are. So have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week. Bye.